guys, welcome to the yearly painting competition. Today we have a special guest, Lenny. Welcome, Lenny.
Hello, everybody.
Everybody who doesn't know Lenny, search for Lenny Crafted, and you will find a wonderful Instagram page, beautiful tutorials on the internet, and also physical. We've met because my friends gave a tutorial from you for my birthday, and we had a mega blast and learned a lot. So that's why I thought, why not invite an experienced painter to help us out with the tedious task of judging these wonderful entries. So welcome, Lenny.
Thank you for asking me. I always enjoy these kind of things.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a blast this year because we had quite a couple of Artisans Guild members. So for the persons who aren't familiar with the Artisans Guild, on our Discord from Rotterdam White Scars, you can actually join our monthly painting competition online. And the numbers 1 through 3 of the painting competition, top 3, depending on how many entries we have, will join the Artisan Guild. And at the end of the year, we'll actually have a special competition in December with all the Artisan Guild members to decide who will become the Artisan Guild member of that year. So now we have all the entries from Niels all the way down to Stino. For the Artisan Guild members, you see them with a green name. And we will have to decide. It's a very pleasant duty to look at all these wonderful pieces. Who will become number 3, 2, and 1. And the number 1 will carry the Artisan Guild Master title. Will also automatically be included in next year's competition. So yeah. Do you have any questions, Lenny, before we continue?
No, I perfectly understand.
That's perfectly fine. Well, we also will give some feedback for every piece, so we won't just go 3, 2, 1, because everybody put a lot of effort in these. Would like to give some comments, what we like and what we would have improved ourselves when it comes to these entries. I think that's a good way to go. So we'll start with the first one, Lenny.
Yeah, let's go.
So the first one is actually a special one because it's from Niels, and he always has very creative entries. And this year he has a tank, an historical figurine. Something you should be familiar with, Lenny, because you use a lot of streaky and grime and stuff used for historical figures.
Yeah, I also go to workshops actually, painting classic miniature models and the fun part is like I used to go like to the masters of painting fantasy figures, but then you don't really learn new techniques. It's more like you see somebody who's really good at what I'm trying to do, right? So then I took these classes and I learned so many things, because then you learn all the technical paints and how they use the airbrush and how they use the AK stuff. I really like the AK brand or whatever brand, but yeah. So it's I know a lot about the techniques, but I use them only on fancy figures actually. So this looks really cool.
Is this something you would? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a freehand, right? Like
it's a freehand, yes.
So that is pretty cool. I always like it when people try freehands and use it, and this one looks really nice. I like the weathering as well. So
the first thing that I saw was that because I learned from you, more weathering on the bottom than the top. So that's a really good thing, right?
Yeah.
So actually, the placement of the weathering is something I really enjoy in this piece, because you can clearly see that the turret is less weathered with the brown muddy stuff or the sand stuff. So I think that's a really subtle transition. There's still on the turret on the bottom, but on the top there's almost nothing.
Yeah.
And the freehands are really special, I think.
Yeah. There's you spend a lot of time on that, I believe.
Yeah. Is there something else you'd like to pick out for this model?
Yeah, maybe also give some feedback. So maybe I can.
Yeah.
So what I notice is that like the core of the wheels are really matching the armor of the tank, and I think it's always looks better when you really make them more metallic. Also, like the weathering is like the same colors, but when it's different material, it will have a really different effect on, for example, oiled wheels with oil and sand, and will be way more messy than the smoothness of the upper armor. So I think if you've done the wheels in the different colors and different technical paints, you get a way more effect of, yeah, this is a real tank.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe also to add to that, I think it's the same feedback, but I do a lot with freehands, and there's one thing you should always watch out for, is that you claim, the freehand is something that you don't mess with, and you see that over here, that the weathering stops at the freehand, and it's really difficult. I know, because you really can't. It's like one shot, one kill. You can't really change after you've done the weathering, but still try it. I've done it with cloaks that I did some mud on, or like dust, and right over the freehand. It's really a hard process, and it's really no going back. But it really helps to even blend in the freehand even more into
to make
the
it
model,
look realistic. Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah,
I really know the feeling. I've
and
so many times
like.
With shields, like I really love to do like my freehands on a shield, and then and then I know, like, okay, I need to do chipping. I need to getting a sponge into the dark brown and then put it over your freehand. It's horrible. But then afterwards you look at it and it's like, okay, but it just make it look more realistic.
It's really worth it, and you'll fun fact, you'll get this question a lot less, and that is it a freehand? Because if you chipped it and if you've done something with it, people don't ask that question anymore, because it almost looks like a sticker now, with all due respect. And then it becomes part of the model, and you get the question quite less. I think that's a good thing. Shall we continue?
It's also a compliment, right? Compliment. If you is it the freehand or is it the transfer? Then it's also a compliment.
Fun fact, actually a question Joey asked in the entry, so that's a good bridge, I think, to the next one.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So Niels, good job. Couple feedback, but I think overall a really worthy piece for this competition. I think it's really also bold to pick a historical mini. Terry is known for being the most productive member of our channel, and also doing insane amounts of model each year. I think hundreds of models each year.
Really?
And he wanted to, I think he posts almost every day that he finished 2 or 3 models per day. And that's insane. And on this level, so I think it's really cool to see him try something new. This is grayscale, if I'm correct. It's a new style.
Yeah.
It has just been popping up on Instagram and stuff. It's a bit viral at the moment. But, it's something new for me, and it's not something I've tried for myself. Have you tried a black and white miniature before, Lenny? Or,
yes. We actually.
Really?
Yeah, we did a challenge once with some guys to do these techniques, but and it's also, I think, not that new. There was like a orc guy who painted the whole army in this style.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And later on, you got also like the cartoon. I think maybe that's even the same guy. Then they used to highlight all the edges with black. Then it looks like a cartoon. And I mean, and I think this is all from Sin City, right? The movie. That they have this style, and then you would see this this type of painting, but I mean, it will pop up. It's relatively new, right?
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying this. When I click through these, I think small things like this piece of white hair going through and painting the metallic because they're gray, of course.
I
think you still create a lot of texture and differences throughout the model. So I think it's really interesting.
It's also really interesting to get more feeling for color by doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't really have feedback on this because it's rather unique, to be honest. Maybe the only thing is
I can give some feedback.
Yeah.
I think so. what I like in this style to do is like what they do in Sin City, is to make like in every model maybe, or maybe in a scene, just to make one detail in color.
For example, the red,
red eyes or green slime or whatever, because the effect will be so much bigger because of all other colors are having different colors. So you can really make a really cool detail pop up, or do a crazy OSL or whatever.
Yeah, I think then you create a lot of contrast as well between the saturation, of course. That's a really good comment to try it out. I feel like the color blue could work here as well, like a hue, or like a. Almost feels that there's some blue in here already, but it isn't. Like if you have like a blue OSL on the boardwalks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great job for Terry, and
Yeah, red would probably work best. So if you want to do it like green and red
City,
will probably work best.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's go to the many hours of repainted parts later from Peter. Wow, that's a gory model.
Yeah, that's what also my first thought when I saw it. Like it's filthy, but that's like filthy. The effect that you wanted, right? Like it's like it's I really like it. Felt really fleshy, like flesh, like an people with no skin, an unskinned model. Yeah. So I really like the effect. That was really good.
I think the effect is spot on, and what I really like about this model is the different textures. When it comes to, you see that most of this texture is actually painted on. For example, on the shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Do you see how the, I think it's non-metallic metal is painted? It's a really smooth texture, as well as the mechanical parts is really clean, and also the blade, which is more like a blended texture.
Yeah.
And then the extreme contrast between the metallic base with the hazard stripes and stuff, it really works. It's really out of place, and it really feels like a demon invading another place. I think that's for my feedback. It's missing a bit of focus. So there, a lot of the model is painted the same way. So if I look, there's no focus on the face or the shoulder pads, or there isn't like a triangle of spots that you can really what attracts the eye. I think the first thing that happened when I saw the miniature, my eye went all over the miniature, then to the blade, and then I lost my attention a bit. I think if the face was a different color, maybe bone, and the shoulder pads had a different color as well, then you had a more focus on the center. The face is a bit lost in the entire paint job, I feel.
Yeah.
You can catch my drift.
Yeah. So I also really liked the blade. That was for me the eye catcher. I think color-wise, the non-metallic gold doesn't really pop because of the flesh tone is all over the model, and it's almost similar color, right? So pink and light yellow, they really are close to each other. And the thing is, I understand what he was doing, right? So like this model has some fleshy parts, like the arm with the bolter, and then the backpack. They have these fleshy parts, and he on the knees, like now in front, and so he did this effect all over the model, which makes it so one part is free-handed and the other part is actually part of the model. What makes it a bit strange, right? So I think it's really cool that he did it, and then he tried it and he executed it really well. But I agree with your point that the whole model in whole is a little bit chaotic, and then it's hard to see the different details. And for example, if all those normal armor parts would be black, like probably the original color you would use here, and also in the face, and then maybe the eyes will be red. Then the non-metallic gold will be shown much better. The blade will pop up more, and even all the fleshy parts that are really fleshy would. If you would put this in Photoshop and just make those parts black, then you will have a very different model. And my last, can you skip one picture to the where you see the stripe? Yeah, this one. Oh, yeah. No, one back. So this is an interesting picture, because here you see the base has black and yellow stripes, but he also uses it on the pipe, right, on the arm.
Yeah, here.
So I would never do this, or I mean, I've probably done it somewhere in the old days, but when I really try to do a detail on my model, I don't want to use the same colors on a detail on the base. No. Just to make them look different.
Yeah, and I think to come back to your comment about the non-metallic metal, there's also a way to paint gold with a greenish yellow. Like one of the, I think that would really help this model as well, or maybe. But overall, I think the execution of the techniques, the overall picture is still very, very well. Very good.
It takes a lot of brush control to paint this.
Yeah, and a lot of hours.
A lot of hours. Yeah. So you can see he put a lot of hours and a lot of technique in this model. So technically, it's a really well painted model. Color theory wise, you could gain a lot, right? It's not like to destroy this paint job, but just to.
I mean, the skills are there, so I think that's really awesome. All right, let's go to. Well, there's a lot of photos. To Mark, smart donkey, and his Bayernings. And I think I have to say something, by the way. All the models are converted in this group. So most of these are actually characters from other armies, human characters. So this is Barliman Butterbear. It is the bartender of the Prancing Pony. This is Hilda from Lake Town. This is actually Dunlanding. So all of these are actually unique, because you don't have a lot of poses in this army for Bayernings. So that's for me as a Middle Earth player is cool to see, and it's something we're very familiar with on the Discord with Marcus' work, because he's entered multiple of these separately already, but not as a full army. And I think we can scroll through. I will scroll through the pictures and go back to the main part. There's the first three, and I think we have more detailed here. I'm just gonna go this. So this is actually Hilda. Not sure which this one is. Sometimes I have no clue what Mark does with his models. It's like he converted them out of so many different pieces. You hardly know where they come from. Fun fact: this model actually holds 2 bears normally. So.
Yeah, now that you say it, I recognize this, but I didn't see it before you told me.
No, and that's the nice thing about Bayernings, because they're actually human-like. You can use a lot of other models that have the similar feel to convert them. I think we've spoken before about this army, because we had a little chat beforehand. I think you had a very good point. Well, first of all, I think the smoothness of this army is incredible. I think the amount of layers that went into painting all this fabric so smooth and so colorful, I think is much respected. It's also something that shows really great technical application. But you had a comment, I believe, about the eyes, right? Lenny?
Yeah. But let's start with that. I really like this paint job. Like, I really like that there are so many tones of brown and have like the whole setting. I really feel it, right? It's I mean, I really feel the whole Lord of the Rings setting and the bases with the tufts and the flowers and so. I mean, that's really done well. Like picking the colors. Like when we before this we talked about colors. Well, this is like proper color picking, right? I really like the how
and composition as well.
Yeah. So I mean, they're all different colors, but they're also still brown green, right? You can say like all the colors we see are brown and green, or a mix of those. And there's also, this looks a little bit red, but then still also brown.
Yeah, so but it all fits together in the end. I think that's really wonderful, and I agree with that.
So when I see the non-metallic metal. So my comment would be like the eyes of the model. So Lord of the Rings models are very small. So painting the eyes of a Lord of the Rings model is like a whole new level. It's like not compared to the Space Marine or even Age of Sigmar models. They're like double the size of this minis. But there actually are modeled eyes, right? So it's not like a big socket or whatever. There actually is a little eye sac and the eye itself. So what happens for Mark to make this possible, he actually paints over the whole model, over the whole part of the eye. So the eye should be smaller, right? So that makes them look a bit unnatural.
And a little bit more cartoony.
A little bit more cartoony, or more like they have mascara, or their eyes are all open, like. And I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I could probably not paint this small eyes in this. Maybe I don't know how many tries he has on one model to make both eyes look in the same direction, because that's the hardest part of painting eyes.
No, I think I can relate to this quite well, and I believe, I'm not sure because it might be different, but because the eyes are so small, most Lord of the Rings painters choose to paint the eyes the different way around. So they paint not just white, but start with black and the two white dots. I think that's something Mark did here, because that's
probably.
I believe that's the reason why we get this effect, and also why you get the mascara, or like the whole. It's like a little bit too much.
Yeah. Now that you say it this way, you can actually see it, right? It's black with two white dots. Yeah.
And I think one of the tips I can give, because I have this problem as well, is if you paint a really small miniature, still go with what I tend to do is do a little bit of reddish brown, so Doombull brown. Paint that in the big socket you have here, so you get like the underside or like the bags under your eyes that have a bit darker color. Then paint your white as just a stripe or just a small part in there, and then paint a bit of black in the eye, but don't cover the bottom of the white. So you actually get a half a circle in the eye. And if you miss or you paint too much black, you can still put a little bit of white underneath there, because you have the brown start already. So you can still have a little bit of wiggle room when you do it that way. It's a bit more difficult, but it helps you also create the idea that the eyes are not fully open. Because if you look at a human or yourself in the mirror, your eyes, your iris of your eyes is always half covered by the top of your eyelid. It's never fully round. But if you paint this way, you will always get the full iris and pupil. And it's inevitable if you do it this way. I agree. It's still very difficult, but it's a way to give yourself a bit more wiggle room.
Brush control, right? So I mean, so I can give some tips on painting eyes. So first of all, what I do is I paint the skin tone, hold the mini sideways. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, so because then it's way more easy to stay within the lines of the eye sockets or the eye bags or whatever we call it in English.
Yeah.
And then I paint the black. And what I also do is use a fine liner. So you can just grab a fine liner, like the smallest one, it's 0.01, I think. And you just stip the eyes, because then you get the perfect black dot, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So and then you need to do some because that will make it a little glimpsy. And then I shade the whole model. So then what will happen is then, because I just used contrast paint or I use shade paint, and then he will catch all the lines. But then the white will be maybe getting too brownish or whatever. So then I take a brush that's clean and just remove the ink from the top of the eye.
Yeah, the excess stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what will happen is that the lines will be really dark around the eye, and the eye white will be still white, and then that gives me the best effect. And also, what is really good tip if you're painting eyes, especially if you paint a lot of Marines or Age of Sigmar models, a lot of them have like scars or have a bionic eye. That makes it more easy to make a realistic face. So if you really don't like painting eyes, for me, example, I hate it. I really don't like it. But so look at all my pictures on Instagram, and then you will see like most of my models have one dead eye or a bionic eye.
Or helmets, right?
Or helmets. Yeah, even more have helmets.
Yeah, I think it's something that it's really a personal thing. What suits you best, because it's such a small detail. I think it's good for people to try different ways and to see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of other feedback that maybe, but I also think it's a style Mark paints. Personally, I would love to see a little bit more contrast. I think this is a good example. It's the green has a lot of contrast. So the difference between the light and dark areas is quite big, but the browns and the whites are all a bit more muted. Personally, I would have done a little bit more on the browns as well, but I also know that this is Mark's his signature way of painting, so it doesn't really deduct anything from the technical level, I think.
No, and I think you're right. I think maybe the non-metallic metal. Maybe you can see if there are more pictures of the side of the blades or whatever.
Yeah, maybe this one.
Yeah, for example, that's pretty. Yeah, but because also here you can go to way lighter on the on the gray part. So if you zoom in and you see the bottom of the X and the top of the X are he stopped at light gray, but you can go all the way up to white. Yeah. And then the effect will be much better, and the dark parts are actually really good, like all the way to black.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that maybe for some of the colors there could be more, especially if the example you showed, like the fur, that looks like just the base color, right? Like.
Yeah. Could use maybe a bit more stippling. I'm a big fan of stippling, so they could use a little bit of stippling. But I think that's just also, if you see, for example, on this belt, you see also the really nice edge highlight, right? So like the final highlight, really tying it in.
Yeah.
If he had done it on this raster as well, it would also, like for example here on this leather parts, if he did the same edge highlight on these squares I think that would have helped as well.
They're horrible to paint. The squares are.
I know.
And horrible to paint. I always tried. What I do, but I actually, what I do with this kind of patterns now is I paint them, like try to actually paint them all, and then you will miss and you will go into the edges and whatever, and then I shade them. So I will paint them with a big contrast. So maybe if I do red, I go all the way to orange or pink or yellow. and then I will use just the dark red contrast or dark red shade, and then go over it, and then you will see all the lines perfectly, and then your highlights will still be there. So that really works for this kind of patterns. So
I think it's still a bit of hassle. Shall we continue?
Yeah, let's go.
We still have a lot to go. This is Temme, very well known for his Sisters of Battle. So I have built a couple of these miniatures before, especially the the suits and stuff. I don't have the patience to paint Sisters of Battle or adapt the Soritas models. It's so much detail for me personally. I've always have great respect for people who actually know how to paint these models. Because I just can't motivate myself to actually paint these models. I actually had a small army and I sold most of it to Temme actually. So some of these models are actually mine that I didn't finish.
I think
so I have no judgment at all.
I think I never paid a Sister of Battle actually.
That's terrible. It's so much detail, and it's like a tad bit smaller than a Space Marine.
Yeah.
So it's all. So for example, the curvature of the leg, it's a way narrower circle. So your contrast is should be even sharper than on a Space Marine. And on a Space Marine, it's already a struggle to get volumetric highlights in. Yeah. But on a Sister of Battle, the angle is even more sharper. So your contrast has to be even more refined than on a Space Marine, for example. There's like a small example, and there's more curvature in the armor, so you have more different ways of volumes instead of the almost cylindrical Space Marines. It makes there's only one real armored model here, but these armor plates are terrible to paint if you actually want to bring them to the next level. It's just such hassle, and the boot plates are notorious for being difficult because they have an underside and they have like edges and
you see all the small details here. Yeah.
For me, what really stands out is I think we've spoken about texture in a couple before. I think texture here is done a little bit more than like the texture on the cloth. It's just not just text, it's also blood and gore and different things. Also the oxidation on the weapon here, and also here on the whip, combined with a small bit of OSL over here. I think it really works as a more Blanchito style. It's not really Blanchito style, but it has some notes of John Blanche, I think.
Yeah.
And
I for me, I also really like the flames on the backpack.
Yeah.
And feedback. I think the skin tones don't really get me.
No.
They're too dirty or something.
And too shiny. So maybe
too shiny.
I think if the shine would have a little bit of matte varnish would have helped a lot in this, I think. And then I think you see more here on the top of the thigh. You see a really good highlight, but I think the shine machine really blocks us from seeing it properly in this photo.
Yeah, probably shake your shades or your contrast paint better.
Yeah, and if it doesn't help, throw the bottle away and buy a new one. Because sometimes you don't use a lot of shade and there's a big pot, they go overdue, and then you have to just buy a new one. I had that with Agrax lately. I was almost done with my buff Agrax, and it kept on being shiny and kept on shaking it because there was still very little left in the pot, so there wasn't a lot to shake.
Yeah.
And then I just threw it away and bought a new one.
Yeah. Then the mix of the earth shake isn't there anymore.
No, the ratio is gone. But overall, mad respect for the sisters, of course. So,
and mad respect for painting all the details.
Yeah. Then we have a sneaky entry that isn't part of the Artisans Guild member. So skip. Then we have Sparxius, Benjamin, the Blood Bowl team. And where are the bases, man? This is not finished. Where are the bases?
Yeah, I had the same thing.
Yeah.
I hesitated. Is it like, is there now base painting? Maybe a little bit of the gray, but I don't believe that is the true, right?
No, it's not.
They need to be on grass. Come on, it's a Blood Bowl team.
Yeah, on grass, but yeah, it's some nice flow. Yeah, it's like more cartoony but the models are suited for this style as well. So not the heavy contrast, but like the more muted non-metallic metal style. And also, I think the non-metallic metal really works with with this kind of paint job. But I also believe that I'm not sure, but this might be slap job because of all the white strikes of the dry brushing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's slap job, right?
Yeah, could be.
Or am I insulting somebody right now?
Yeah, no. You did it pretty good. If
it is slap job, it's a good slap job, paint job, because I haven't seen such a great slap job in a while. I think it is actually, and they're also printed because I see the print lines here.
Oh, yeah.
They're like so it's also 3-year prints, but also has a little bit less detail than a plastic model.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall good job, but yeah, the only thing I want to say is do your bases, man.
Yeah.
I think we can be really clear about this as well.
Get me some grass with white lines.
Yeah, that would have been.
That always works so well on those models.
I'm just gonna go through them all to see if there's. Stop zooming, guys. Stop zooming. I think the graybeard's really cool. Yes, the old longbeard vibe.
Yeah.
I think if you look at newer GW models from Blood Bowl, they're also going more to that cartoony style, right? So they're also changing their aesthetics away from Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer Age of Sigmar more to that unique cartoony style of Blood Bowl. So it's really cool to see that this one's a little bit. Yeah, you should look at that. It's really running.
Yeah, I think I really like the new vampires. They looked amazing.
Yeah.
Like and also the lizard men. They got this kind of cartoony style. I don't know. I know what you mean.
I just finished the Snotlings. That's just one crazy bunch of cartoons. There's nothing realistic about those guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have two boxes in my pile. Shame, but I never started them.
Finish them. There's something more up to your alley, I guess. 40k. Yeah. Oh no, Horus Heresy, right? Or
yeah,
because it's the Eye of Horus. So it must be Horus Heresy.
It could also be 40k. I mean, there are still symbols of Horus running around in 40k as well, but probably this is for Horus Heresy.
One for.
I mean,
also one of the guys always enters. Yeah,
I like the colors. I like the OSL on the spear.
Yeah.
And on the shield, I think it was a little bit on there as well.
Here as well.
Yeah, but my critic would be, I mean, it's such a big model. So you need to paint more details. And what I really like about these big guys is to use the technical paints, right? To make them dirty, scratch them up, like use the streak and grime it works so well on the big armor panels,
Yeah, or differentiate if you want to keep it more clean. Use more metallic colors. So, for example, you have one tone of steel, but if you look at these parts or these, they turn around more, so they will be more silvery, right?
Yeah.
So they will be a little bit more clean.
Yeah.
Example for this as well. So change up in your tones of steel. So the pistons, and really give the idea that this is like sheet metal, and this is like industrial metal, this is like engineering metal. You have different types of steel in one structure.
Yeah, that really works.
I think if you would have just changed like just a couple bits to more silvery or more dark steel, or like forged steel or cast iron instead of, for example, this whole round stuff that would have been cast iron, right? Because you can't make such a round thing out of on the lathe. So you would mean darker metal, and then this might have been sheet metal, and this might have been engineering metal. So changing that up could really help this model. But overall, I think it is something. The way he painted it, you can continuously improve on it, even if you want to pick it up 5 years later, right? Because the way he paints it right now, there's a lot of room for him to keep on adding stuff later on if he wants to do more. And I think that's also a great way to paint. And maybe also good that he didn't do all the weathering just yet, because he can still improve on certain stuff, or maybe add a transfer or freehand later on as well.
Yeah.
So,
also maybe one more tip: if you really want to go for smooth, like a big knight, and you want to paint them smooth, you go for a gradient, right? So you try to do like a non-metallic metal style of layering, but then just light to dark. Maybe if you go for black like this model, you start in the top, or then maybe in the bottom, and you just try to create a gradient from dark black to maybe middle gray. Yeah. And you can do this just use very wet paint and just paint in the direction you want it to make lighter, and just build up the layer. And every time you skip 10% or and then at the top then you can really make like these big panels more interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's also a good tip. I do like the bronze contrast against the steel, though. I think that's already a very good choice. If we would have done it gold, I think it would have been a very boring model.
Yeah.
Just doing the bronze, keeping it all in those cool tones, also with the blue OSL and stuff, really helps it as well, being a dark, dungy model.
Yeah. I would make the base also not gray, but maybe brown, or maybe keep some of the stones in gray and then make the area around it brown, and use some, maybe if you want to keep it grim darkish, some brownish tufts, or maybe some greens. So then now you almost don't see the feet, because the silver is also kind of gray.
But I'm curious what in which army this knight will be, because if it's in like Imperial Fist army and it's like a Black Templar kind of thing, and you have Imperial Fist on gray, that would be really cool. So I think that's also really hard to see right now.
Yeah.
And we have another sneaky non-artisan member. Pretty cool model though. Then we have the final two already, so we're coming to an end. The Orc Megaboss from Nick.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this one in person, so I'll let you comment first, because I have some advantage from seeing it in person and holding up myself.
So I really liked it. I really liked the color choice. So let's start with color theory. That I really liked.
Yeah.
The technical aspect of it. So you really try to make the armor more interesting by using a lot of different yellow tones and making all the scratches and the lines. I also really like the metal on the X, because it's done really well, creating like how orcs would handle their steel. And that's a great effect of the rust, but it still looks sharp. That's always the difficult part, right? To make it look functional and also weathered, and he really got that right. Yeah. I also like the base, like the different elements, and how the bluish stones pop up. And I mean, it looks like stone, so it's a grayish color, but also looks a little bit blue, which really works well with yellow. So I like that one as well. So overall, it's just a really good paint job. Of course, I can also give some feedback. I think the bone maybe you have a different picture from the bones and on the chest. Yeah, this could work. You zoom in.
This one?
Yeah, if you zoom in, open.
Can't go any further.
Yeah, you can do open in browser, then it becomes really big.
Yeah.
It's on the bottom, open in browser. Yeah, and then you can, you see.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you what you see is like the highlight of the bone is really all done in the bottom of the bone, right? So there's all the color difference, and then it's just most of it is one color. So you should still use this technique by doing the different colors of browns all the way to bonish, but make more like, I always explain this like a tent, right? So you do one stripe to one point all the way to the top, and then another line all the way to the top, almost like you did the yellow, right?
Yeah.
And then you get like all these different colors building up, but you should see the dark brown at least until the half of the bone or the teeth.
No, I think so. I have the same feeling with this model. I think I've seen him paint the base, and fun thing is he did everything with really wet Mornfang Brown and Everland Sunset. He just painted in like blobs of color and just kept on mixing. So this is all painted by hand and no powders or whatever.
Really?
That's all. Yeah, it's just by hand.
It is dried up paint.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's dried up paints, and he made all the different effects by himself. But he is also an art student, so he likes to. You can also see it in his style. It's a bit more coarse than the traditional miniature painting style.
Yeah,
I think, the color theory and also the textures is something that this model really shines. It's just the way this is done, and we say the contrast between colors and also the contrast between textures over here, and the way he picks the spots of color that he still uses, like this red coming back into this. It all works really well. But Nick misses a bit of brush control and like finesse. For example, the final highlight on this is almost pure white, right? But this should have been real sharp.
Yeah.
Like these. If this was way sharper, I mean like 3 times as sharp as the highlights are right now, and also more on the edges, like picking up these armor,
the higher parts,
edges,
not like grain. Yeah.
So this is like a great sketch of some potential that's in here. And I think if we would have just done like the final highlight on the edges, like true non-metallic metal to pop out the armor and the yellow, and also here how coarse this is, this brush stroke over here or this, it should have been. I think everything should be like this. See this highlight over here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can see my mouse or not. If this highlight would have been the same here, like all like this blob here, and for example, if you see it here as well, it's too coarse, so you miss a lot of. I think if he would have practiced more on brush control and really getting control over his brush and actually doing things on purpose instead of going with the flow, this model could have been the next level. I mean, the spots are already there. I mean, he's doing the things in the right places, the right colors. It's just technique and skill that's a bit lacking at the moment. But you see it here as well. I think this is a prime example, like this highlight and this one in the middle. If that would have been like a thin line and like a sharp cut right here, that would have been awesome. I think it really would have finished the model. But I think this is also a model that you can go back to, just like the knight, and finish it up and do that last step to make it perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
We go to the final one.
One more. If you zoom out and look at the base versus the armor. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he probably used those colors as well in the armor.
Yeah.
And so there is and also the yellowish tone on the tufts makes it like that. I mean, he did really well because you clearly see the difference between the model and the base. But then again, color theory wise, he could have used different colors.
Yeah, also you have green, and it's a green skin. It also doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So they're similar colors, and I mean he executed it then very well. But you should make it a little bit more off. Like you can use green tuft, but they take really dark green, or and maybe go not for yellow sand, but like brownish orange. So that's different than yellow, right? And then you get the same effect because he's standing in some dry desert place, right? Or
I think I've seen it in real life, and the difference between these colors is bigger in real life.
Oh,
that's something you can't see in the photo.
Yeah, that's always hard.
This is more brown orangey than in the photo.
Okay, then he did everything fine. I said nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing. That's the advantage I have for seeing the model in person. Great job again, and a lot of potential as well. I think this has a lot of power to become.
You see the brush control. If you can do all the small lines, and you can do all the color placings, then you have all the elements to do a really great paint jobs, right? And this is already a really great paint job. I mean,
but really cool to see potential and stuff like this, right? Because you see like, the person is capable of doing more than they actually do already, and that's I think always really cool to see.
I actually painted also like one of these guys, exactly the same color. So someone wants to see how I did it, you can check my Instagram. You can see how I did it.
That's cool. We'll also post a link to your Instagram in the video, Lenny, so people can look it up. Then the final one, I'm gonna open this in browser. I think I've
maybe you can press open in browser again, then it becomes bigger.
That is on.
Ah, that's nice.
Just gonna cut this part out of the video, so. But it's the final one. That's from Stino, from Stijn. Yeah, I'm starting to find something wrong with this mini, but that's just me.
Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah, you start. I'll start looking.
So I really, really, really like this model. I mean, this is the kind of paint job that's really high level. I mean, this is easily winning gold on standard level on big painting competition, or even try to go for masters, because this has all the elements, like colors are correct. There's a really difficult non-metallic metal going on here. So the gold, especially the chest and the dragon shoulder pad, this
is extremely
really
difficult.
Good. Yeah.
I think this part is my favorite part of miniature, by the way. This.
Yeah.
Just the volumetric flare. This little flare of light. I always struggle with things like this, so I think this is wonderful to see.
Yeah, it's amazing. So this would be like I don't even know if I could paint this well. Also, I don't really like non-metallic metal, so I did actually. I have one miniature painting all the way up in this style as well, but I never finished it. It's still in my backlog. I need to finish it one day. And I like to do like blades and like maybe parts of model, but not a whole Stormcast. But I have one laying around, but I still need to finish it because I don't really like it. So so the whole miniature just really, really good. Feedback points. I think the base is pretty boring. So it's just on a wooden plate. So maybe it's not finished, and you kind of edit. Green would work very well, and just put grass on the top of the wood. That would also, I think, do an amazing job. And I think that the cape, if you maybe see some other angles, so the white looks a bit thick. Like I see some pigment dots in there. I mean the purple and the blue is probably airbrushed. It's really nice, but like the white. So, and white is horrible, right? So like white is the most horrible color ever to paint, and because it has thick pigment. Because to create white, you need a lot of pigment to create white. So what you could use is this brand, Pro Acryl White. That's like one of the best whites I ever used. It's really thin, and then if you water it down, and it's also covering well, and also start with gray, but I think you already did it here. And my other feedback would be, if you go picture back, so some of the non-metallic metal is really well, but when you look at for simply the leather around the wrists,
here for example,
it's almost doesn't have highlights, and on the other side it's highlighted really thick. So it's and then when you look at the leather in the middle, that looks really good, but also because it's covered by non-metallic metal. So you probably want to do stippling. What we talked earlier about. Use different techniques. Use a little stippling there, some small stripes that creates leather, and also the banners could probably use some more different painting techniques, so that you get more the feeling of different materials by using different techniques.
I think I can. I agree on the points you did as well with the leather. I think that's one of the. If you create a piece like this, you have to make sure everything is to a certain level and not lacking on some parts. The same experience with some of my pieces. It's a hassle because some parts are like, I'm not like a belt buckle or like a little hip flask or something. Who cares? You shoot. I also think that in some parts, it feels like he has a great feeling for non-metallic metal, but has not yet really mastered the theory behind non-metallic metal. And let me explain, because I think this part here really shows what theory wants you to do with non-metallic metal. That's actually having the volumes like really tuned up, so you get pure white and almost pure black or different tone here. We have the mid-tone is always a reflection tone. So this is the brown from the leather, for example, and I would have wanted to see a little bit of purple on this side, for example, because this one is standing out in front of the armor plate. So this should have been a little bit purple on the edge. And all the edges, also the bottom edges, are edge highlighted with pure white. Because then you get like this, metal always shines in corners. So if you have a corner, you get like a echo reflection. So metal always has, the deepest corners are always the widest, brightest. It's really strange to get the theory, but remember that if you have a deep corner, light goes in and bounces around on that edge, and that gives a little edge highlight. You see this here, for example. This is what happens, you see? And also here, what happens here, like on the edge, but also the bottom edge, because normally, if this would have been a normal model, you wouldn't highlight underneath the edge here because it would have been a dark spot. But if you go here, this chest plate should have a highlight here underneath the blue, and here as well, and also around the edge and here. And also on this piece, you see that only the inside is highlighted, but the other side should also be highlighted. And then you get the full impact of non-metallic metal. So when you, for example, the thumb here, the inside should also be highlighted. So you miss those final lines to really create that shiny armor effect. It's still very shiny and everything is almost perfectly in place. But if that would have been in place, then you would have gotten the sense of material way more, because now it's more like a gold painted armor, but then you would have really popped it to the next level and it looks like gold. You know what I mean, Lenny? Or am I saying something?
I'm thinking, because like I've already told everybody that I'm not that experienced in non-metallic metal, and I do this. I highlight all around, but that's more because I thought it looks cool. Not thinking about the theory that you just explained, but then it's very logical, right? So but because with normal highlighting, when I highlight like a red armor, I don't do it, right? I don't highlight everything. I just go on the where would the sun be, you know, where would the highlight be? But then with metal, because of the reflection, that was really eye opener. So I learned something tonight.
That's what really helped me to push my non-metallic metal to understand what I was actually doing, because you can go a long way with feeling, right, with this kind of stuff, because I can do reflection and stuff, but the theory behind is that all sharp edges of metal, whether it inverted or outwards, are always shiny because of the reflection and the echo of reflections. So for example, here on the toe, you would have wanted a reflection underneath the flaps as well, like a second highlight, so you get a more I mean, the technique out. If you look at this part, this is like pure miniature porn, right? I mean, this is like you have like the mid-tone reflection of the leather and stuff. I think it's it's great overall, and I'm not sure if I can achieve this as well. This is such a different style than what you do and what I do. It's a different master in his own little in his own it's not little, in his own spot.
Yeah, I just really like the dragon shoulder pad, and for me that's just like all the colors are correct, you know, like a little bit of purple in there. It's bluish, but also grayish, and makes it look metallic.
I think first of all, Lenny, thank you very much for joining this episode and also helping us judge. I hope you're willing to do this more often.
Yeah.
And also, let me do a shout out to you. Please check out your work on Instagram, and also you have a tutorial page that you can also find via Instagram and also Patreon. So if you want to support Lenny and motivate him to be our guest more often, please do so. And also would like to invite everybody to also join every month's paint competition for the next year to also secure a spot in the Artisan Guild. And without any further ado, would like to announce the top 3 of this competition. Do you still know the three spots we've chosen? Or
I know the third one. So third place was the yellow orc.
Yeah, from Nick. So congratulations, Nick. You've secured your third spot. The second was
the
Mark.
Lord of the Rings, the
Bearnings.
The bear army.
The bear army with the Bearnings, Mark. So congratulations, Mark, for securing the second spot. And I think it's no surprise what the first spot is, right? It's the last picture we showed, the Stormcast from Stino. Congratulations on becoming the Artisan Guildmaster of 2023, and all the other people from the Discord and from YouTube channel. Make sure you join the Discord as well. Join the paint competition. Because you can also claim a spot in the Artisan Guild and try to beat Stino next year in 2024. This year, actually.
Yeah, congratulations. Maybe I should join.
Maybe. You can join.
Yeah. Try to beat him, because that's going to be hard.
Well, I sometimes enter as well, and then I don't get picked first or second because I ask Jeroen to do so as well. But sometimes it's actually because I'm not good enough. But you're free to join in anytime you like, and also show your pictures on the Discord as well, Lenny. Be free to.
I painted some really cool space wolves. Those are really cool. Grimdark style.
Give it a shot. Maybe you get the membership. You don't know.
We need.
Thank you very much, Lenny.
No problem.
and see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
So